Let me ask you guys something. Do you really have to have a huge store on eBay to really do well? And that's the question I'm hopeful that I'll be able to answer for you on the other side. So without any further ado, let's go. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is John from Flippin' Ain't Easy. And today I wanted to show you an example of another idea, and that's what this channel is about. It's about discussing ideas amongst the community. Maybe you're struggling, maybe you're trying to build a huge store, maybe it's just not working for you. And I want to give you an example of something that caught my eye. I was doing some research when I was maybe looking up an item about a week ago, found this particular seller on eBay, and it really made me think, wow, you know what, this whole idea of sell-through rate we talk about, I think there's an importance to it. You can have negative things going on with your account, like I'm going to show you with this other seller. You can have negative feedback. You can have a listing that has virtually no item description, and as I'm going to show you here in a minute, this particular seller has a very small size store and is absolutely kicking butt with the sales. So let's get on over to my computer and we'll just take a look at exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, so I want to show you a seller on eBay that kind of caught my eye, and it really made me think that, wow, you don't need a big store to really do well on eBay. And of course, I kind of knew this before, but this store really speaks to having a good sell-through rate. Now, of course, let's not focus on the obvious. 98% feedback. It's not good. Checking out the feedback, they had some issues. I guess not describing their stuff very well. But that's sort of not the point of this video. And I wanted to put that aside to show you the things that, or the thing that caught my eye. Now, this store has 55 items in it. It was only like 35, 40 items the last time I checked. So they're actually adding items to their store. As you can see here, new listing, new listing. Okay. Now, if we are to go down the left side, you see they have a lot of tools, and a lot of these tools are DeWalt, Ryobi. These are, it tells me this person bought a Home Depot pallet, which I have nothing against. I think you can make good money in doing so, provided that you're properly advertising your item's description. But what I want to do is, anybody want to guess, for 55 items listed, how many solds this person has in the last 90 days? So, provided that you didn't move ahead and cheat, let's go ahead and look at the sold items. 757 items sold in the last 90 days. So that's an average of about maybe, 250 items sold per month. And if you see the ASP on these, 64, 82, 140, 450, 110, 199, 242, 242.96. There's a lot of good deals. Now, they're offering free shipping. I think that's a mistake, but each person has their own way of doing things. What I want to focus on is just this. If this person is selling 50 items, okay, they're just listing 50 items, and they're selling 250 items over that 30-day period, that is absolutely one heck of a sell-through rate. So let's say there's 50 listed, 250 are sold, that's 300. So you're looking at 250 items out of 300 every month that are being sold, and there's a lot of intangibles and things like that. That's very high. That's what are we looking at? Somewhere around, what, 80% sell-through rate? And this is exactly what I'm talking about. Now, it doesn't have to be tools. It doesn't have to be tools at all. It can be something that sells rather quickly. And I can tell you this. I'm on to trimmers and edgers. I already have that in my store. I'm on to more tools. And look, this is not a tool. This is an Xbox headset. We have mostly tools, but you can find tools at yard sales, guys. And yeah, even used tools has value. They have value. Um, Here's an air fryer. Okay, so this notion that you have to have 10,000 items in your store to make money. I have 200 and now 220 items in my main store, and it is not going to bother me as much as it may have had in the past if it gets smaller, because my sales are still doing fairly well. Now, the sales over the last week are left to be desired, but I'm still making sales, guys. So I'm just kind of looking through this store, and while I'm not a big fan of the feedback this person has, I'm not a big fan of the short titles. As you can see here, you always want to make use of all 80 characters if you can, and the way to do that is find characteristics of this item that you can kind of add here, selling points. Maybe it's adjustable, maybe it's heavy duty. You can put those things in here to fill all 80 characters. Now if we click on the listing itself, let's go down here. It is very, very basic, I'm sure. I don't think there's anything crazy here. In fact, there's really nothing. And that's probably why the seller is getting a lot of flack, because these are open boxed for the most part, and they're not really giving any information on the condition of their items. So I think that this seller is on the right track and has the right idea by selling these small, having a small store, selling at a high sell-through rate. But there's a lot that could be desired, and to even improve upon that. And I think this is just an example where you can have a small store and you can really do well if you have the right items. And look at the average sale price. Now, I'm not expecting everyone out there to go and be able to buy items they're going to be able to flip for 90 to 200 bucks. My store doesn't even have that. But if you're only selling 5, 10, 15, maybe even $20 per item, you're really going to have to sell quite a bit. And you can imagine if this person's averaging, even if they're averaging $100, per transaction, over a 30-day period, 250 items, well, what is that? $25,000 in sales per month? And that's not too shabby. Even if you're operating at a 30 to 40% margin, that's still not too shabby. And so just wanted to give you an idea here of what I'm talking about when we're trying to build small stores that are more efficient. So what do you guys think about that store? Now, it had a lot to be desired, and there's a lot of improvements that I think that seller can actually implement in their store, which will actually help them do, I think, even better. However, this is a good example of a seller who is absolutely kicking butt, in my opinion, for the size of store that they have. I think there's a lot of folks out there with stores that are over 1,000 items and would love nothing more than to be able to sell over 750 items in a 90-day period. But to have about 50 items and you're churning out, I mean, you're listing items and boom, they're selling at that rate. You're not having a lot of items that are sitting around not getting sold if you have a very small store that's selling at that high of a clip. I think eBay really rewards the sellers that have a higher sell-through rate, or what eBay calls an average sales conversion rate, which is, again, the quantity sold divided by the total page views, including both page views from eBay and external page views during this time period. Now, it's obvious to anyone who watched the cutaway that the seller we looked at is absolutely kicking some serious butt. I'm sure that they are very high up there with their average sales conversion rate. I have no way of knowing that because I don't have the page view data for that store, but I'm willing to bet it is a very, very high number, and I'm willing to bet that eBay will overlook things like negative feedbacks, maybe even incomplete listings, not having even an item description to be seen, and they're still rewarding those sellers because of the high success rate history that they have shown. So I want your ideas. I want to know what you think. Now, I'm not here to dog anyone. Like I say, there's ways to make money, many ways to make money on eBay. It's not just one way. You can build as large of a store as you can, and if you can maintain that without losing inventory, keeping track of everything that you have to deal with managing this inventory, and if you're able to make it work for you, keep doing what you're doing. I will always say that. But for those sellers who are sort of on the fence, maybe you've tried a large store and it just hasn't worked for you, maybe downsizing only to the higher ASP, high demand items that will help you churn and get rid of stuff very fast, increase your sales conversion rate, and I think you can build upon that. Maybe start small, start like this person is, 50 item store, and then if you have the level of success this type of person's having, keep adding stuff to that store, but until you find a happy place where you're making the type of money that you want. This particular person looks like they're making about $10,000 a month, if I had to guess, on the profit side of things, what they're making. And to me, that's a pretty decent number to have for such a small store. And I want to know what you guys think down below. I'm here to try to share with you some of the things that I think, and sometimes you may not agree with it, and I certainly respect that, but I think it's always good to see other perspectives and other ideas that for some of us who are struggling, it might be the answer to unlocking and figuring out this thing we call eBay and reselling. But yet, it's another example of how flipping ain't easy, and I want you to check out these videos here above me. Maybe you'll see something you like, but until next time, have a great rest of your day.